This week in South Florida, the Catholic Archdiocese of Miami gets a new bishop. His name is Peter Baldacchino, and he just arrived here from the Turks and Caicos. He's a native of Malta and was a parish priest in New Jersey. We'll ask the bishop about his circuitous route to South Florida and how he plans to serve the more than 1 million Catholics in the Archdiocese. What about the gay community and relations with the Jewish community? The bishop's answers may surprise you. Plus, your letters and my personal perspective about the kids at Coral Reef Senior High and their rendition of the national anthem. Stories people are talking about this week in South Florida. Good morning. Glad you could join us. You know the old bromide about never discussing politics or religion? No, I don't believe in that either. And on this program, we talk about politics all the time in one form or another. But this morning, we are going to focus on religion and questions of faith. We will do it with a new religious leader in our community. His name is Peter Baldacchino, and he has just been named by the Pope as Bishop of the Archdiocese of Miami. He thus becomes the number 2 man behind Archbishop Tom Winski. Bishop Baldacchino will be a powerful force in charting the way the Catholic Church here serves its faithful and, in a sense, the entire South Florida community. I sat down with the new bishop late this week at St. Mary's Cathedral. Bishop Baldacchino, so good to be able to speak with you.
Nice to be here.
So you have come from the Turks and Caicos, a lovely couple of islands down southeast of Miami, about 500 miles, and here you are in a big metropolitan area. Have you found your footing yet?
I'm still finding my feet. I think it's going to be an adventure, no? And I look forward to be able to serve Archbishop Thomas Winski, no? Who's the Archbishop here of the Archdiocese of Miami.
Right. Has he told you, all right, Bishop, here's your mission. Here's what I want you to do?
We haven't got to that point yet, but I think he'll be telling me very soon. Huh?
Now, I understand that since you ministered to a lot of Dominicans and Haitians, Filipinos in the Turks and Caicos, among others, that since we have large population here of Haitians and Dominicans and a lot of other people from Central America, South America, the Caribbean, they will be part of your focus, or maybe your main focus.
It was a privilege for me to be able to serve the people of God in the mission in the Turks and Caicos Island. And I somehow think that Archbishop Winski is aware of that, and he may put it to good use also here in the Archdiocese of Miami.
Right. In the more than 3 decades that I have lived and worked in this community and grown to love it, I have seen the role of the Catholic Church undergo a kind of a sea change. I mean, for many years, Catholicism here, principally they were white, they were middle-class people, working people, some upper middle-class professionals. The Catholic Church here is much more diverse now. Is that a good thing?
The very fact of being Catholic embraces all nationalities, races. Remember that I come from Malta, in the European basin, and we see a lot of diversity, if anything, for the strategic role that Malta plays within Europe. Or even from its history, a long time ago, was a place of transshipment, many people passing through. So this helps to mellow a little bit, Then Catholicism in itself announces the victory of Christ over everything that separates us, be it race, age, profession, intelligent, less intelligent. Somehow these barriers that keep us apart break down, and we are able to be together, to be in unity, even though we are diverse. And this diversity, rather than becoming a hindrance, somehow becomes an instrument to be able to bring us together and to work together for the better of the community we are in.
Right. Bishop, I have to ask you, the mystery of faith, the belief in things not seen, the possibility of salvation, redemption, God's love, those are things that all people want. But it seems that these days other influences make it harder to achieve. Is it harder?
It's very interesting because we say, no, in the Mass, let us proclaim the mystery of our faith. And many times we think that this mystery is an Agatha Christie mystery, who done it? No. The mystery is actually the sacrament of our faith, no? And a sacrament is a visible sign of a hidden reality, we were taught in Catechism, that confers grace. It actually does what it says it does. And this mystery, this sacrament, is the power of God that is able to bring us together. It announces the victory of Christ. So the mystery is not something unseen, St. Paul says, no? It was hidden, but now it is revealed to those who have been chosen by God.
So once was blind, but now can
I see. Exactly, no? So it's not something that, who done it? We don't know. The mystery is something that is very well known. And to know this, obviously, through prayer, through meditation, through being familiar with the teachings of the Church, this mystery opens to us a window to enter into the mind of God. So, having experienced the mystery, if you wish, we somehow understand why God allowed some things to happen in our lives, why that accident happened in my life, why I was allowed to walk down that strange path in my life. When light shines in darkness, somehow everything becomes light. No.
Right. Clearly, the conflict, it seems obviously, is between man's free will, including the ability to make bad choices, and the dictates of God trying to help man make good choices. But when bad things happen to good people, as the rabbi said in his book, when bad things happen to good people, that's the hardest thing to accept. I mean, yesterday, two little children, 1-year-old, twins, fell into a swimming pool, and either they're near death or they're critically ill. And I think, you know, some people look at this and say, how could God let that happen? What do you say to those people?
In order to, I mean, it's very difficult to give an answer just like that. We have to be very close to the people in their suffering, in the moment of crisis, in the moment of where things seem to be absurd, and to see that God is present. But in order to see that God is present, we need faith. To see that God is present, even in the church, you need faith. Just to step through the doors of the church and to come in, we need faith. And faith is not something abstract, it's very real, no? St. Paul says faith is the guarantee of what we hope for. We all hope for eternal life. What about the people who are far away, who have never made it into the church? How do we bring the love of God to them? I think that Pope Francis is very much concerned about this, not to go to the peripheries.
I'm so glad you have mentioned Pope Francis, because it seems to me that since he became Pope, that there has been, because of him, a whole renaissance of admiration for the Catholic Church, and certainly for him. This guy is a rock star. I mean, people of every faith like Pope Francis. Why is that?
When the love of God appears, and we are channels, we are called to be channels of the love of God. God is beauty in His perfection. God is love in His perfection. And when this love appears, it is very attractive. It's very attractive.
Yeah, but, you know, after he was chosen by the cardinals.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just thinking of this one incident where he was checking out of the hotel at the Vatican, and still he walked up to the counter and said, well, let me pay my bill. I mean, you kind of thought to yourself, well, gee, he's the Pope. Doesn't he have somebody to pay the bill for him? Or, I mean, there is, I guess, seriously, a humility about Pope Francis that is very attractive.
I think that Pope Francis is teaching us more by what he does. and then putting it into words in order for us to be able to process it, because we need to process things through our minds. But I think he's speaking to our hearts, and he's calling us, he's calling us to an authenticity, no? In what we do, no? So somehow, which is also what we are called to do now. Lent, all the readings of the church are inviting us to an authenticity, to be what we say, no?
More of our conversation with Bishop Peter Baldacchino in just a minute.
This week in South Florida. Thanks for watching.
There is a very large gay community in South Florida. And I think that many of my gay friends were just euphoric when he came back, when Pope Francis came back from...
God loves them too.
I'm so glad. When he came back from his trip to Brazil on the plane, and he was asked about all the homosexuals he had seen, and he said, "Who am I to judge?" I mean, this
Yes,
was...
I was in Brazil with a group of young people from the Turks and Caicos Islands, and actually we got to meet some of the young people from Miami, because we joined along with them in going to the pilgrimage, and I'm sure I will meet some of them also here. Yes, I think that Pope Francis is very aware that we are in, what is he called it, a field hospital? And in a field hospital, we need to take care of those who are badly injured, badly wounded, and not to get lost into checking the cholesterol level when we have a heavily bleeding.
So triage first before you get to the other.
So first things first. No, there is a process. No, first we need to show the love of Christ for all, and then somehow slowly on to bring on the teachings. The covenant is a way of living the love of God. But the first thing that we experience is the love of God. And I think that Pope Francis is asking us to show that love.
South Florida also has a very large Jewish population.
Yes.
And I mean, this is a hugely influential and wonderful group of people.
Yes.
And I need not tell you, relations between Jews and the Catholic Church after World War II and the Holocaust, and whether Pope Pius intervened or he didn't, have been strained, but they have been repaired. I mean, Pope John Paul, among others, moved to do that. Are the relations, are they pretty good now, or what is your view?
I have Jewish friends myself, even at the Turks and Caicos Islands, even in our Catholic school in the islands, which we started in 2006 with a handful of students. We also have a Jewish student, students who had difficulties being accepted in other schools, but I'm very happy to work with them. Our roots, Jesus was a Jew, no? And we understand a lot of what we celebrate. Even the Mass itself has its rules in the Jewish Passover. So in discovering these friendships and discovering, we understand much more what we practice, what we celebrate. No,
Bishop. Here you are, you're 53 years old.
Yes.
And, you know, your life journey has been a fascinating one. You were born in Malta.
Born in Malta, yes. Never had the intention of leaving Malta. My heart was there, you know, everything was Malta. But the Lord had different plans. And I remember when I worked for Canada Dry, I was offered a job outside of Malta, which I refused because I wanted to stay in Malta. And yet the Lord was able to break also that barrier, no?
So you went to New Jersey.
Then I went to, by lottery. I didn't choose where to go. The only thing is that I showed an availability to serve the church anywhere. And my name was drawn out of a hat, and I was sent from my parish in Malta to New Jersey, yes. And then I started studies there, and was ordained a priest, and was sent in a very nice parish. Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Ridgewood, New Jersey, was welcomed very well as a large parish.
You were a parish priest?
I was a parish priest, no. I was there for 3 years, and then was sent to the mission in the Turks and Caicos Islands as chancellor. To help open up the mission practically, you know, to be able to open doors a little bit.
I read
that you had,
excuse me, I read that you had 9 parishioners when you began this
for Mass. Yes. There were about 40 Catholics, I think, on island at the time, and 9, and 3 of whom I had to go pick up, not only myself, also the other priests, to bring them to Mass. And then, you know, slowly, I believe this, we only did what we could do. It is the power of the Word of God and the sacraments that builds community, no? That helps people be together, and they want to be together, no? And we've seen also vocations to the priesthood come forth now. You can imagine 10-year-olds, add to 15 years to that, they're 25 years of age, marriage age, no? And already we start to see the first marriages.
And children.
In some way, yes, in some way, I'm like a spiritual father for them. So you will see some of them come to the ordination on the 19th. And it's because they are grateful somehow for what they have received. And it's not me, really. We're only a channel. You know? We're only a channel. St. Francis says, no, make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is sadness, joy. No? Where there is, make me an instrument of your peace. So that whatever you want, Lord.
We are so glad you are in South Florida, and we wish you well with your ministry.
I thank you very much. Pray for me, and I pray for all of South Florida. And this is my work now, no? To be able to be a channel in the hands of God, always under Archbishop Thomas Wensky, who the Lord has chosen as shepherd of this flock.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you.
Bishop Baldacchino will be installed on March 19th. All right, up next, we'll open the mail. Let's open up the mailbag now. The crisis in Venezuela continues to bring in comments. This email is from Christina Saxon Hernandez. She writes, I was born there and raised here and have a huge family on my father's side in cities around Venezuela. My heart aches for the conditions they are living under and how it seems it will only get worse. All right, still to come, my personal perspective about one of the best versions of the national anthem I have ever heard. Wait till you hear the chorus at Coral Reef High. Before we leave you this morning, a personal perspective about singing the national anthem. It is often done so badly, but this week I heard it done oh so well at Coral Reef Senior High down in Southwest Miami-Dade. We will pick it up in progress. Listen to this.
Who's brought strife? Who's brought strife?
It was thrilling to hear it sung so well, and here is the gorgeous finale. It was a thrilling performance by the Coral Reef High Chorus, one of the best I've ever heard of the Star-Spangled Banner. And something else down there was also terrific, the students, as they waited to hear President Obama. What I saw gave me hope. Black, white, Hispanic, Christians, Jews, and Muslims. The student body president is a girl who wears a hijab, a headpiece. They interacted easily, affectionately. It looks like this generation doesn't have some of the same hang-ups about race, ethnicity, religion that my generation has, and what a very good thing that is. President said he went down to Coral Reef High because he heard a lot of good things were going on there. He's right. there are. That's my perspective for this week. Have a great day. Maybe get out there on Calle Ocho. Remember, as always, stay informed, get involved. I'm Michael Putney.